All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the Friday Night Prepper Pre-Party Show. This is a great place to spend your Friday nights. Great place to start your weekend. I've got a great returning guest for you tonight. I'm going to introduce her in just a second. But first, let's go through a little bit of housekeeping. Now, if you're watching this on replay, I do recommend that you put the chat on. If it's available, it's usually, I think, 24 hours later is when they make it available. YouTube does whatever screening that they do to that to make sure that nothing too bad is in there, I guess. But if you're watching it after 24 hours, you should be able to watch the chat, and I recommend that. I've got several mods already in the chat ready to drop some links, and that's one of the best parts about this is check out some of the other channels that we like to promote here. Always good people here. We have a couple little ground rules. I always ask that my audience, if you have anything bad to say about me, that's no problem. I can take it. You're more than welcome to take shots at me in chat or comments. Please be kind to each other. Any comments that are negative or hateful generally are going to get deleted, so I really wouldn't waste your time with that, especially if it's directed towards another viewer. And of course, my mods have full permission to put people in timeout. We don't usually have a problem here, but I want to just kind of get that out there. And of course, please be kind to any guests that I always have on the channel. So that being said, this is Prepping with Sarge. If it's your first time here, we talk about all things preparedness, everything from gardening to foraging to I like to do some product reviews. We do a little bit of mental health for SHTF situations. And we'd love to have you join. So if you are a new subscriber, you can let me know in comments. And I would like to, if you've got a channel, I'll try to go and check out your channel too. I try to stay up with as many people as I can. And if you enjoy what you see today, please give us a thumbs up. All right, first things first, I want to drop a link here from my friend and guest. And this is Miss Daniella Joy, who runs also content under the name Self Love Fit, right?
Yeah.
And welcome back. Is this your second or third time here?
I believe it may be my first.
No,
Oh no,
you,
third.
yeah,
Sorry, I did it with other people. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
you were
that
part of a panel. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Third.
All right. Well, so tell us a little bit about yourself. What your content is about.
Sure. So my name's Daniella Joy, and I'm on a weight loss journey to lose over 100 pounds. My goal is to lose 130 pounds, and I've lost 90 pounds thus far. And I'm all about health and fitness. I'm all about taking care of yourself. I'm all about mental health because it is so important in this world in order to prepare for life. You got to stay ready. You got to stay ready. And staying ready is working on yourself day in and day out. And I strongly believe in that because so many people out there nowadays aren't taking care of themselves. And I was one of those people, for sure. I was pushing nearly 300 pounds. I was 24 years old, riddled in chronic pain, on tons of medication. And I was just trying to figure out what was going on. And it wasn't till time that I figured things out. I got an injury after giving birth to my son that, hey, I gotta change. I've got a kid now. I've got to take care of myself. Things have to change. So I went down this dark road trying to figure out what was going on with my body. And I found out that I needed to get help in terms of getting pelvic floor physiotherapy and healing my body because I was in chronic pain for years and I developed metabolic disease post-pregnancy. So yeah, fast forward to that. I went on the keto diet and it really helped reverse a lot of my ailments. I used to have severe asthma, guys, like severe, to the point where I was hospitalized. Went on keto for 3 months, strict keto, and I reversed that. And it's just, diet is powerful. Diet is truly powerful. It affects us on multiple levels, not just with weight, but mentally, physically, physiologically, and emotionally. So diet is everything. And I think it's so important to take care of ourselves in that aspect to help prevent disease. Because these days we're seeing young people, we're seeing middle-aged people, we're seeing a lot of people plagued with cancer and all sorts of illnesses, most of them that are preventative. Not so much the cancer part. Well, that's a bit debatable. Certain cancers, we won't get into that, but it's just so important to take care of you. And yeah, that's what I'm about. I'm about taking care of yourself, staying active, because you never know what can happen in this world. And if you're out of shape and you got to go out there into the forest and defend yourself, it's gonna be tough.
Yep, and that's part of prepping, and that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight. So we've been dropping your link, and thank you, by the way. I see a bunch of people popping into chat. I see you, Angie. I see you, Successful Slave. I see you, Silver Scorpion. I think Prepping by Faith. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all for popping in, and everybody who was here early in chat. Really appreciate you all. So we're going to drop your link several times, and I also have it in the description. But where else can people find you?
You can
Besides you.
also, yeah, you can find me on YouTube as Daniella Joy, and you can find me on Instagram as self.love.fit. I actually started my whole weight loss journey on Instagram, and I was encouraged to go on YouTube. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. And you and I have several mutual friends, right? Move with Jen,
Yes.
Tattooed Ronin,
Mm-hmm.
Burpee Yoga Uncle,
Yes.
Celine Ferocious.
Yes.
Who else? I'm trying to think. I don't know that they're doing it anymore. Adrian and Nico, right?
Yeah, I don't think
I think they're
so.
kind of retired from it. And Majors, is he kind of retired from it for now?
I don't know. I miss him. I
Yeah.
miss him. Majors was
Yeah.
awesome. I hope he makes his way back.
Yeah, all of them. Brad, my BS Life,
Yes, Brad.
great channel. I know life gets in the way, and sometimes social media has to take a break, right? That's reality. But some great channels out there that I miss too. And hopefully they're checking in from time to time, because I know that we all started around the same time.
We did 2020. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how are you finding this? Let's talk about this first, and then we'll get into the fitness and preparedness, and we're going to touch on a little bit of mental health today too. How are you finding the whole social media experience? What are some of the tough times for you? What's worked well? What do you see? Because I was doing fantastic on Instagram. They did something to the algorithm, and I
Yep.
cannot get a video to lift off now. And it's just like everything I'm putting out there is only getting a couple hundred views. I was getting thousands of views each video. What are you noticing?
Instagram completely changed its algorithm to cater to reels, and in order to get the real algorithm to get on your train, you got to find trending reels, and it's tough. It's tough. You got to find trending sounds, I mean.
Yeah.
And I think it's really hard to do, because if you use trending sounds, you can't really do voiceovers. But if you find the trending sound and do a voiceover, it can help out. Yeah, Instagram, I've been fighting that algorithm too. It was very easy for me to gain followers on there. Now it's now I was actually going backwards, but now I kind of figured it out. So slowly but surely I'm getting there. With Instagram again, they completely changed. And I would say, like, the toughest thing about social media is the comparison and trying to figure out why your content isn't taking off, but someone else's. Like, that's the toughest.
It can really get in your head. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's where you gotta learn. You gotta learn from that. You gotta learn from the adversity and know that, hey, you gotta focus on yourself. You gotta focus on outdoing yourself. You're not gonna get successful with social media if you keep comparing yourself to other people.
Right.
You gotta compare yourself to your past self and keep getting better. That's how you gotta approach it. And it's hard. And I've had to mentally check myself. My subscribers have mentally checked me. Shout out to them, because they're absolutely amazing. So yeah, it's a tough one, but you got to hang in there. Stay consistent, stay positive, make content that you love, like be passionate in it about the content you make. And eventually you'll attract more and more people. And that's what I've been doing lately. And I'm noticing I'm getting a different crowd of people. Thank goodness. Because my channel was stuck in this horrible hole of weight loss YouTube that I did not like.
It's a tough niche. You're in a tough niche. It's super competitive. I will say that what I also noticed, though, is that the fitness niche, people tend to be pretty good about supporting each other.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people putting out fitness content, so it's kind of tough to break through there.
It is, but it can be done. It definitely can be done. You just got to stay focused. It's one of the highest niches out there for sure. I think when it comes to niches, number one is gaming. I have a channel for my son, but there's no way I can keep up with that. But he's like networking on there, that kid. He's only 8 years old. He's networking with all these YouTubers. I'm like, how? He's gonna figure it out. I'm gonna teach him how to edit. He'll figure it out. Number two is finance. That's like a big niche. And I'm not sure. I think fitness is in the top 5 and stuff, but those are the two I can remember that are the biggest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So you're a little bit of preparedness mindset yourself, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. Like I want to get into it more because I'm a huge lover of nature. I love
Mm,
living outdoors. I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is way out in the East Coast. I now live in Calgary, Alberta, and this province is all about nature, all about hiking, all
nice.
about hunting, all about, living out, going back bush camping, they call it, off trail
Hmm.
camping. It's
Hmm.
all about that stuff. And I want to get into that. Like, I love that stuff. I want to get into hunting because I love food. And food tastes the greatest when it's from its source. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so good.
Yeah,
And
we
all,
were just a forager chick and I were just talking about how different foraged food tastes from grocery store food because it's much more mineral dense. Uh, you know,
oh,
the
that,
stuff that you buy, like a lot of our produce here comes from California farms,
mhm.
and it's the same land. And not no offense to anyone that's doing this, but it's the same land that's been farmed over and over and over for
Yeah.
decades. There's nothing left in the soil. It's given everything that it can, and it's like literally like dust now. And so there's no nutrients in the tomatoes, there's no nutrients and things like that. And that's why it doesn't taste good when you get it from the grocery store. It just tastes like bland. I
Yeah.
remember like I'm not trying to be like when I was your age, we walked uphill, but I do remember like the tomatoes in the 80s and 70s tasted so
Different.
much more rich than they do today.
Mm, I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that for sure. And there's science behind that we're stripping the soils of minerals. And like people are so like into the macros, right? Fats, proteins, and carbs. The micronutrients are everything. And
Yeah.
when we strip the soil like that, we lose it. So maybe
Right.
that's why the food tastes better when you forage it or when you hunt it, because the food that you hunt, they're eating that mineral dense food. Like the deer's eating the wild grass or whatever deer eat or what have you, or the buffalo or the elk. With a lot of elk hunting going on up here. I've never
Yeah.
tried. That's something I need to
I've
try.
had elk once. It's good.
Is it? Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
it's really good. I heard
Mhm.
it is. So,
Yeah, and she was saying, Forager Chick was saying that when you have mineral dense food like that or wild game, well, she didn't say the wild game part, but she said when you have mineral dense food like that, the you also will fill up faster because your
yeah.
body's getting what it needs. So you don't necessarily need all those extra empty calories to feel full, right?
Uh,
So like, and you could do this with your garden too. If you tend your soil really well and you're putting compost in every year and you're building up really mineral dense compost and soil in your own yard, you know that those tomatoes are going to taste better. And so one tomato is probably going to be more fulfilling for you than having like three of those grocery store ones. And if you've ever had like chicken eggs from a farm, like huge difference from the
oh
store
yes.
bought chicken eggs. Yeah.
Oh, big difference. Yes, I have a friend that has a farm, and I get eggs from her, and it's just so good. And you talk about the tomato, like I would go over to my son's aunt's house and grab the tomatoes that because she has a bit of a garden. So good,
Yeah.
so good. I need to get into gardening. I have to do it. I've been saying this for years, but I have to because now I'm thinking about the tomatoes from a garden. Oh, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, we got some suggestions here. Rotate your crops. Absolutely. You don't want to grow, Corey, you're right. You don't want to grow the same thing in the same spot year after year. That's one of the problems with those big farms is that's what they're doing. And then volcanic soil is best for tomatoes. I've not used that, but I'll check that out. All right. So since we're talking about diet, let's start with that, I guess. Now,
Yeah.
you're doing OMAD now.
Yeah. So
Can you explain what that is?
yeah, so I'm currently I'm switching off because that's things are changing there. But for the last 3 to 4 months, I was doing OMAD, which stands for 1 meal a day. And I was doing that to help keep me in a calorie deficit because I was struggling with overeating and eating unhealthy foods. And the purpose of OMAD is to fast anywhere between 22 hours to 23 hours a day, and then you have a meal. I was doing OMAD style intermittent fasting, meaning that I was having 1 to 2 meals and a snack, but I was still using that OMAD fasting schedule of 22 to 23 hours. And it was helpful because it allowed me to have more energy. It allowed me to do stuff throughout the day. And it could be something that preppers could adapt to and probably should adapt to if you think about it. Because if you're in a situation where you're out and there's no grocery stores and there's no food, you're going to be fasting a lot.
Yeah.
So fasting is a great tool to just adapt yourself to. So
yeah.
yeah.
I'm so glad, because that's exactly what I was thinking, is from a survival's perspective,
Yes.
right? That if, let's say that all of a sudden, worst case scenario, nobody's filling the grocery stores anymore, right? And we all have to start using what our skills were to gather food and use whatever you've been fortunate enough to store up for that point. Like you're getting into rationing, and you need to start thinking about your diet differently. So you're not going to be able to necessarily do 3 meals a day and 3 snacks a day. It may be that it's 1 meal a day.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure. And speaking of which, now that I'm off OMAD, I've now transitioned into the snack diet. So I'm kind of working with a gentleman named Cole Robinson. He's the snake diet guy. He's all about fasting and helping people lose weight, like morbidly obese people lose weight, like people who are on their deathbed kind of lose weight. It's pretty tough to see people like that. And he talks about eating light, eating snacks throughout the day, eating 400 calories at a time. So that's what I'm currently doing. Like today, I've had like 350 calories. I'm going to eat more, but I don't even feel hungry because I'm learning how to eat light. And I am eating in ketosis, which is very key. Because if you're going to stuff your face with all these carbs, it ain't going to work. And even if you're out there and you're living in, you're prepping and you're trying to survive, you're not going to have carbs. So like the keto diet is kind of like the base too. It's kind of like the default if you think about it. So the diet I'm consuming is very similar to a diet that a prepper would consume in a situation where there's no grocery stores, unless you have, those meals and stuff. But
and there's a lot of evidence indicates that, and a lot of research indicates that early humans, the nomadic humans, there there was no agriculture, so it was forage, hunt, move, forage, hunt, move. And a lot of that would have been if they couldn't catch anything that day, then it might have been just what they foraged, right? So even the amount of, I know I'm a fan of protein, and I know you're a fan of protein.
Yes.
But early humans probably didn't have as much protein as we do now. So they might catch something, and then it might be 3 or 4 days before they have, protein again. At least that's the theory. It's hard to prove all this stuff so many thousands of years ago, but that's the theory.
Yeah, no, early humans lived off of mainly, it was mainly foraging food, and hunting was rare, It wasn't rare, but it wasn't as often as us getting our fat and protein sources as we do now. So I'm all about living that natural human diet, because at the end of the day, we are still running on 100,000 year genetic imprint in the 21st century. So that's why we're seeing all these diseases, because we're running on DNA that says we need to be active, we need to be walking, we need to it would take us miles to get our food, not just sitting down, going to the cupboard and getting these high sugary foods. So that's why we're seeing all these like diseases and stuff. So that's my thing. I'm trying to live to that as much as possible.
Very cool. I want to say hi to a few people in chat here. I saw Celine come in. How are you doing, Celine? And let's see. Penny Pinching Prepper, appreciate you. Thank you. Kanzi, the environment is poisoned. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more pollutants in the ground now than there were, and in the air. I know. Even I've heard other people say this, and Dove Season, thank you. I appreciate you as well. I've heard other people say this. It sounds crazy, except to people who are like my age or older. The sky was bluer. The sky was a different shade of blue when I was a kid. Now, what is that? Is that just air pollution or whatever? But I'm not I've heard other people say that, and that's my observation as well. That I can remember. Now, you still will get some days like this, but I can remember a lot more days when I was a kid where the sky was just like this bright, bright turquoise blue.
Hmm.
And you just don't see that as much. It's a little concerning. I'm
Interesting.
so lean, I almost look like a junkie. Oh, Corey. All right, so let's talk about the fitness piece of it, right? Now, I want to say for anybody watching this, uh, I participate in a lot of prepping forums, and sometimes people get a little defensive when this topic comes up. You don't need to get defensive. I believe me, I am not judging anybody. I have struggled with my weight off and on my entire life, and it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, and it is constantly a fight for me. I am not judging anyone. Daniella's already told you about her journey and losing all that weight. She has worked her butt off to get where she is. This is 2 years. There's no shortcuts. This is 2 years of extremely hard work, and you can go check out her channel where there's the proof of it, where she's doing crazy amounts of burpees on live stream and things like that. So please don't, if you're watching this, please don't feel like this is an attack on anyone. Do the best you can. The idea is if you're out of shape, okay, start slow, do what you can. If you can't move around because you've got a physical issue, I get that. I totally get that. So just do what you can to be as healthy as you can within the body that you have, right? And see where that takes you. So you do a lot of exercise without heavy equipment and stuff like that, right? Like most of your stuff, you don't really need to have fancy equipment. You don't need to have a gym membership, right?
Yeah. Back in the day, yeah, I'm currently at the gym now because I got into a car accident and I need the machines for my joints.
Sure.
But I lost the majority of my weight with home workouts, just doing a lot of body weight using 20-pound dumbbells. Like, you don't need a lot. You can get into tremendous shape with body weight exercises like burpees. Like, burpees are a full body exercise, and you don't need the gym. You can do plyometrics, you can do ab work, you can do so much without having to go to the gym. And it's really important to do so because you want to be able to keep your joints strong. And that's the beauty of body weight workouts. It forces you to use those joints and engage and get in that bone density and all that. So yeah, you don't need anything fancy to start off. I literally started off with walking. You can just do 20-minute walks a day, 3 times a week. That's how I started my weight loss journey. And that incremented into running and then added in some light weights and body weight stuff. So yeah.
Yep. And yeah, if you can't do anything else, do walking. If you can't walk because you're in a wheelchair or something like that, then talk to your doctor about, there is wheelchair exercises that people can recommend. So it's, there's fitness routines for that as well. But burpees, for people who can do burpees, I've heard that's called like the perfect exercise. Is that true?
Yeah, because it's a full body exercise. Because you're getting the cardio and the muscle work. It's a beautiful thing.
It hits pretty much everything except for chest, right?
No, it hits chest.
If you do the Navy SEAL one, right?
Yeah, or just going, because there's different variations of burpees. Because there's burpees where you can jump up and go all the way down and you kind of do a push up. So that will definitely hit chest. And then there's the ones that you have your straight arms out and you just go back. That even hits chest too. No, burpees is the perfect exercise because it's a full body workout. Full body.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, and by the way, our friend Fu just popped in as well too.
Yes,
Thank you. Good to see you. And Fu said there's so many different ways to do burpees. So if you don't know what a burpee is, you can just go to either Fu's channel or Daniella's channel, and you'll see that there's videos on how to do burpees. It's no equipment required. Maybe if you're starting out, you can just do one or two. That's okay.
Yeah.
You work up because it is they're pretty intense. I remember in one of my martial arts tests, my sensei, who's unfortunately passed away last year, every test he would like have these, I don't know what you call it. It was more of a mental game than a physical game to test your discipline. And he would change it up so you couldn't really train for what was going to be on that test because you didn't know. And one of those tests, he decided it was going to be burpees. And I swear to you, I think we did like probably 100 burpees that day, in addition to all of the martial arts stuff. And it was like, it was just it was a psychological test. Like, are you going to tap out or are you going to keep going?
Yeah.
And then another one was planks. He did one where we had to plank. I don't know how long it was. It seemed like an hour. I know it
Oh,
wasn't an hour, but it seemed like an hour.
oh, planks are brutal. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know how
love
people
planks
do
though.
10-minute. There's people out there that do 10-minute planks. I'm like,
Yeah.
how? A minute's hard.
Yeah, when you're first starting out, if you're gonna try planks, I'd say try 20 or 30 seconds, see how that is
Yeah.
for you, and then slowly after a couple of days of doing that, add 2 more seconds, add 5 more seconds.
Yes.
Just kind of slowly. But I love planks because it builds that core strength, and it's one of the few exercises that when I do practice it and I do stay on it, like I can actually get a little bit of a ripple in my tummy.
Mm.
I don't get that from sit-ups for some reason, but if I do a lot of planks, I eventually start to get that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Kanzi. I appreciate it. Yeah, Master Phil was a good dude. He really
Oh.
one of the most positive people I ever met in my life. Actually taught me a lot about just positive mindset and that how important that was. All right. So if we were to recommend a fitness routine for preppers, something to aim for, maybe they can't do this right now, right? But they can work up to it. What are some of the thoughts that come to mind for you?
A fitness routine for preppers is going on long walks with resistance with weights on your
Mm,
back because you got to carry things. So carry your backpack. Um,
mhm,
if for those who don't want to do that, another thing you can do is you can do like push-ups and body weight exercises with a weighted backpack on you just to get your back used to carrying things. Doing squats with your backpack, um, things like burpees, because it's hard to work out the back without any equipment, but if you have that backpack on, it helps. So just doing basic exercises with the backpack on, I would highly recommend that. Um,
mhm,
and interval training is another one because interval training helps increases your cardiovascular abilities, especially if you don't want to run. Perhaps just run 1 minute on and then walk 1 minute. And you can do that 5 times, 3 times a week, and it can really help you improve your cardiovascular ability because it's so important to have good cardio as a prepper because you're walking for miles and miles on end. It's,
mhm.
so yeah, I would recommend that.
Um, I would add to that hiking with your pack, obviously,
Yeah.
and a little bit of strength training, especially for um, like all your compound muscles, right? So for people don't know your large muscle groups, right? What are we talking about here for anybody that doesn't know what that is?
Functional movement. So your large muscle groups, things like your quads, your legs, your back, your core. That's key. And your arms. You want to work all of those movements, but especially the legs. The legs are
Mhm,
so key. So functional movements again,
mhm.
like squats, sit-ups,
Deadlifts,
deadlifts, yeah, totally, because you're bending down. Shoulder presses,
military press, yeah,
yeah, shoulder military press, same thing.
yeah.
Yeah, anything functional like that.
And rows, right?
Yes, because you want to pull. Rows is
Yeah.
another one. Um, rows, squats,
And
presses,
and then
push
core
pull.
work.
You got to think push pull movements. Push pull movements.
Yeah. And
So
then something for your core because that's where all your strength comes from, right? Your
yeah,
legs and your core. Yeah.
yeah, you need to work on your core. Thing to do for core: stomach vacuums, planks help. Just general core exercises like sit-ups. Reverse crunches are a good one because you get in
Mm,
that lower core. So when you work out the core, you want to divide it into lower and upper core. So upper core would be things like bicycles, and then reverse crunches will be for the lower core. Um, Planks, reverse planks, getting because then you strengthen the posterior chain of your body. So yeah, you wanna work on stuff like that.
awesome. All right. I hope that gives people some ideas. I don't run too much anymore because of some knee issues and things like that. If you're young enough that you still can run, then maybe think about, can you run 2 miles? Because that's a good thing to aim for.
Yeah.
If I had to, I could, but I'd be in a lot of pain afterwards. I do sometimes will go to like a jog when I'm moving. If I'm walking, or especially if I'm on the treadmill, I like to do it. It's a little bit easier on my knees than concrete, so I'll do like a light jog, and I'll kind of do intervals. So like I'll walk for a tenth of a mile, and then I'll jog for a tenth of a mile. And I kind of do. We called it the Scout pace in Boy Scouts. It was like walk, jog, walk, jog, walk,
Yeah.
jog, and it's like time and a half in terms of like being able to cover distances. So it's a little bit faster than walking, and you don't get like completely winded because you're getting that walking break.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tybo, that's fun. I like that. That's a good suggestion. Haven't seen that in a long time. That's great. Well, who was the guy that did the Tybo stuff? Oh, do you remember?
Tybo?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
No, I was looking at the chat trying to figure out what they're talking.
It was kind of like kickboxing.
Oh, no.
Knee ups. There it is. Billy Blanks. That's it. Billy Blanks. You can look that one up later, Daniela.
I'm gonna have to now.
You're gonna like it. It's fun. It's fun.
That's hilarious.
All right. So if anybody has questions here, we're going to shift to kind of the mental health piece of it here in a second. If you have questions for Daniela, please throw them in caps so that we can try to catch them. All right. So you're also a big advocate for mental health awareness and mental health self-care, right? That's another thing that you and I both have in common. And you had to really put that to work this past summer, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was a tough one. So I was at work and I got into a car accident. I was sideswiped by someone who was pretty much on their phone. And I hit my head on the window of the car to the side, and then the car crashed on a medium, and I hit the airbag went out. So I have a thoracic spine injury. I have now post-concussion syndrome. I've got a torn MCL, and I've got a torn rotator cuff and a shoulder issue. So it's been really tough. So when that happened, I got into a lot of pain. And for me, the trigger is pain, because when I first ballooned to almost 300 pounds, that was because I was in pain from the birth injury. Now I was in a lot of pain because of the car accident. So during the summer, I was just binging up a storm, eating so much. I put on like 20 pounds very quickly, and I was heading down a dark road. I literally lost 60 pounds at the time. And I was reversing that slowly but surely. I was incrementally making my way up. So I knew I had to change. I had to set my habits again. I had to be disciplined. So what happened was, that's where I introduced OMAD. And because I knew I needed something to help me shrink my caloric window so I don't eat a lot. And then I started doing calendar tracking just to set the habit. And I believe everyone says it takes 21 days to do a habit. I think it takes 90 days. Because it took me 3 months of tracking and calendar tracking and focusing to really reverse that binge eating. And when you suffer from a concussion and you have pre-existing mental health issues, they just, explode tenfold.
Yeah.
It's absolutely horrible. So I started seeing a psychologist to help me through the trauma of the car accident, because every time I would get in the car, I would have panic attacks. It still happens to this day because my thoracic spine is so tight, it's screwing up my parasympathetic nervous system. And my vagus nerve is crushed. So I get tingling down my arms and my legs. And I'm because of the seatbelt, I've got a chest injury too. That's all tight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that causes panic. And I'm not one to have panic attacks. Like, I've had pre-existing mental health issues. I've had anxiety. Never in my life did I have panic attacks.
Yeah, they're fun, aren't they?
They're hell on earth. I had they're so bad. I do not like them. Feels like you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, it feels like you're gonna die. It really does.
Yeah, it literally does. And I was having that feeling nonstop, constantly, and I didn't know why. So it's so important to take care of your mental health, because your mind can influence your body. If you're stressed, it goes into your body.
Right.
And you need to do that daily. And the way I do it, I meditate daily. Okay. I'm a big fan of David Goggins and his mindset. And I learned recently that he meditates 2 hours daily while he stretches. And that makes sense. He meditates to prepare his mind for life, because life is going to be our biggest teacher. Life is going to be the thing that's going to reveal our biggest weaknesses. So in order to prepare for life, you have to mentally do the work day in and day out. Mental health isn't just a one and done thing. It's consistent work. And that's what people forget. They think, oh, you know, if I do this once a week, I'm fine. Like this whole self-care Sunday thing. No, it's self-care every day.
No, it's got to be lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my mental health routine is that I meditate in the morning for an hour. I journal. Then I go to the gym, because working out is a mental health thing. You got to exercise for that mental health, because you got to get it out in the body. Like the mind and body are one. They're not separate. We tend to look at it as a separate entity, but it's one. So taking care of your mental health means doing all that stuff. It means eating healthy, doing things like fasting, because fasting can help boost things like serotonin. It can help boost GABA, which is like all these brain benefit things. So it's so important to take care of your mental and see somebody. Don't be ashamed. I'm seeing a psychologist right now. See somebody. Get help. I do therapy constantly. And my therapist taught me something very interesting today. It's like the trigger points of the vagus nerve, and she just learned this. And it's so funny that she learned this, because I told her that my vagus nerve is probably crushed. That's why I'm getting tingling down my arms and my legs, and I had panic attacks and I need to lie down. So you kind of hold your head here, and then you follow a line and you go opposite. And even as I do this right now, it calms me down. And you follow your body down to the triangle of your arm, and then you go on the outside, and then you do your hand, and you do it again on the other side. You make sure you get your opposite. Like if you're starting with this hand, you want to go to the opposite side. And you do that, and then it's a body thing.
And it's just light touch. It's not pressure.
Oh, it's pressure. You want
you are pressure.
You want to feel, but you don't want to go too hard.
Don't bruise yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. But it's crazy. Like it's so important to have a mental health routine, and it's going to be different for everybody.
Very cool. Yeah, and we're always talking about that kind of stuff here, especially near the end of my chats. I always kind of throw some of that stuff out there on Friday nights. But the biggest thing that I try to tell my patients, because for those, if you're new to my channel, I'm a therapist by trade. And the biggest thing I try to tell my patients is this is probably the hardest thing for them to learn in many cases, but it's also the thing that gives the most relief over the course of your life, is when you really get the concept of that your thoughts are going to dictate your mood, and your mood is going to dictate your behaviors, right? And people think, nah, it's not that big of a deal. I can think angry thoughts and it's not going to affect me, or I can think, or I can be mean to somebody and it's not going to affect me. It does. It really, so every time you have a thought, whether it's like, I'm ugly, I'm unlovable, right? You're feeding stuff into your brain, and it's quick. It's like really, really quick, like flicking a light switch, and your brain starts going, oh, we want to feel crappy. Okay. And it starts producing crappy neurotransmitters. And guess what? You're going to start feeling crappy. And then the more you feel crappy, your body, there's a tendency to want to rebalance your chemistry, right? So what's the fastest way to feel better? Well, that's going to different by person. Maybe it's reaching for food. Maybe it's reaching for booze. Maybe it's, for some people, maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's pornography. Maybe it's shopping, right? Like you're going to reach for the thing that's going to most quickly give you that dopamine hit, right? And that's how we get caught in that cycle. So then you say, okay, well, I just spent $1,000 on a new knife, right? And I feel good for a little while, and then I think, oh crap, I kind of needed that $1,000 for a car repair that I've been saving for, right? And then I
Yeah.
feel crappy, and I'm like, man, I'm stupid. Why did I do that? I'm so wasteful, right? Like I didn't need that knife, right? And then we just get caught in that cycle. But it works the other way too. So
Yeah.
if we think good thoughts, right, or neutral thoughts, even sometimes, like I'll tell my patients, if you can't think positive thoughts, then at least think neutral, because neutral is better than feeding yourself all that other crap. And so maybe it starts with, like, when you wake up in the morning, you say, instead of saying, oh, I got to get up, stupid alarm clock, you say, I get to get up. Today's going to be a good day. I'm going to do something really good today. Something special is going to happen. And you start, so immediately your brain says, oh, we want to feel good today. So it starts giving you a little bit of dopamine and a little bit of serotonin. Then you have your coffee and you're like, instead of just guzzling down that coffee, just drink it a little bit slower and like, hey man, this coffee smells really good and it tastes really good. And your brain says, oh, we want to feel good. Okay. So we give us a little bit more dopamine. And this is all behind the scenes, right? This is like your engine, your computer. It's more like your computer. And it's just responding to what you're telling it to do. This is how, when people say your thoughts create reality, that's
Oh,
very true. It's very true. And this is how you can look at it from a cognitive behavioral therapy perspective, or if you want to get more spiritual with it, or new age, you could say this is manifestation.
yeah.
It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's what you put in your mind is what is going to come out in your behaviors and in your feelings. So when people can get that and start to put it to work for them, and it's like all day, like you said, it can't be just on Sundays.
No.
It's got to be all day long, reminding yourself, I can't think negative. I can't be mean. I can't be angry. I can't, I can't be mad at myself for something I did when I was 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
I can't beat myself up for the girlfriend that I cheated on when I was 16 years old, right? Like I got to forgive myself. It was a bad thing to do. Yes, I can take accountability for it. But
Yeah.
that was like 30 some odd 40 years ago. Like I can't keep beating myself up for that, right? And you have to let that stuff go. Self-forgiveness is hard, but it will free you. And that's how people can really start to change their lives. And when you're happy, when you're managing your mood in a good way, good things start to come and happen for you, because people notice that and they're attracted to it, and you're going to get more job offers, and you're going to get more people attracted to you, the right kind of people attracted to you, not the ones who want to exploit you, not the ones who want to take advantage of you. The right kind of boyfriend, girlfriend wants
Yeah.
to be with you because they pick up on your
Energy.
good charge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I strongly believe in that. You nailed it right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard to do though. I mean, I make it sound simple because I talk about this all day long with people, so it sounds easy, but it's hard to do.
It's like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it. It's about mental rehearsal.
Yeah.
You're rehearsing these energies. You're rehearsing these moods. Like I did a meditation this morning and he's like, rehearse courage, rehearse gratitude. Start with things like that. Start with those emotions, because those emotions, when, like, he talks about firing and wiring things, and literally it's like everything, like the body is the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It holds on to everything. And in order to change that, you got to change your emotions. Like you're going in the shower this morning and you're getting ready for work. What are you saying to yourself? What are you feeling? Are you like, oh, I got to get up for work now? No, you got to switch it around. Like you say, I get to get up. I get to do this.
Yep.
So it's about switching that energy, because when you switch that energy, you change your life. Life, like your mood and everything, is all about energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw a comment here I wanted to circle back to. Kanzi was asking if you had any thoughts about like non-weapon assertiveness for if somebody was trying to take your stuff.
Non-weapon assertiveness.
Like how would you handle it if somebody was trying to take your stuff?
I wish I knew jujitsu. I really do. Some kind, or judo, some kind of martial art.
Yeah. And
I,
and I think that is a good thing for prepping
prepper.
is
Yes.
some self-defense, right? But even if without that, there is something to like projecting confidence and making eye contact with people, not like staring somebody down because that can be dangerous and incite something, but just like, yep, I see you. You know, you can give a
Yeah.
little polite little nod, like I acknowledge that you're there or whatever. Respect too, right? Like that will avoid a lot of conflicts. But
Yeah.
that's come up sometimes for in some of the chats. My thoughts on it are a little bit different than a lot of the other preppers. Because it's situational.
Yeah.
So I can honestly say, based on the type of person that I am, if some little old lady was hungry and knocked on my door and needed food, there's no way I'm turning her away. You know, I'm just not built like that. And people will say, well, then you won't have any food left. Well, maybe that's fine. Then I'll die with my holding my head high, and I can live with
Yeah.
that. Like I can die with that. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'd be able to turn, you know, like a single mom with her kid and they're hungry. Like I don't think that I could turn that person away.
Mhm.
Um, and then another thought on it is like maybe that person is potentially a good ally for you. Like
Yeah.
somebody comes to you and they said, "Hey, I'm hungry. I need some food or whatever. I need medicine." You know, maybe you help them out and then they can help you out with something. You know, you just
Exactly.
think outside the box. I think the prepper community is so quick to go to like, well, I'll fight them, whatever, you know, or I'll use violence, whatever. And maybe sometimes that's necessary, but maybe sometimes it's not necessary, you know.
I don't think so. Like, it's so important to build community. Like,
Mhm.
especially in a prepping situation, you have to help each other. You have to build a community where you're connecting with one another. Because in reality, you can't do it on your own. You can't.
Mhm.
Like humans, like think about us back in the day when we were rummaging the forests or wherever the heck we were rummaging.
Mhm.
We had communities. We had groups of people. You can't do it individually.
Yeah.
So you got to help each other out. You got to. And I believe it comes back to you. You give, it comes back to you, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I read something interesting the other day. It's probably going to escape me where I got it from, but it was about like the early humans and nomadic tribes and stuff like that. And it was when I was preparing for my stream with Forager Chick, I was kind of doing a little research on it,
right.
and it's said something like it's believed that most of the nomadic tribes were probably in the range of about 50 people, and
Oh,
that number is based on more than that would have been too much people to feed for a geographic area, to less than that and they'd be susceptible to attacks from other groups.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think I remember hearing about that from somewhere too.
Yeah.
Sounds very familiar. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, any other questions here as we start to think about winding this one down and putting a cap on it? I saw a lot of good comments. I haven't seen too many questions though. Um, good job, Rob. He spent 1K on a first appearance Harley Quinn comic book. I can't fault you for that, man. uh, let's see. We've all done that. Like I have a lightsaber that I showed in some videos. It's
Nice.
like it's like a $350 lightsaber, which I don't need that. Like why? But I had to have it. I had to have it. You know,
There's just some things you gotta
I
have.
had to have it. Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
I've used it for some like I've done some cosplays and things like that, and I did one for a school, and the kids loved it. Like I dressed up as like a dark Jedi,
oh,
and like so many kids were coming up, and they were like, "Oh, that's so cool! Can you use the Force and stuff?" So like I'll justify it that it was worth it for that. I made some children happy.
yeah. That's a win. That's a win. That means you're
Nobody's buying
cool.
it.
That means you're cool.
I don't think anybody's buying. All right, Kanzi wants to know what's your favorite prepper or survival movie.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, survival movie. Oh, I would say I think of Lord of the Rings. I think of Star Wars. Oh, what else do I think of?
But
Um,
like something that's like a survival kind of movie.
I don't know if you guys remember the movie. It's a '90s movie, Alaska.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's such a small movie. Basically, a father, son, and a daughter got into a plane crash in Alaska, and it was like one of those like little charter planes, and they had to survive in the wilderness. It
Hmm.
was such a cool movie. It's a very small movie, but yeah, it's crazy, and they met kind of like had to go through this whole transition. They kind of met an animal along the way. It was pretty neat. Yeah, it's a very small movie, one of those like home to made VHS kind of movies.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If you like that, you should try to find The Gray with Liam
okay.
Neeson.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
no, but I know Liam Neeson and I like him.
Yeah, it's
The Gray.
yeah, he's in a plane crash with several other survivors in somewhere way north Canada, way north, and it's basically gray wolf territory.
Okay, I want to watch that. Yeah, I'll check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's intense. It's one of my favorite survival movies, though.
nice.
Bacon. I don't think that's a survival movie. I guess it is because he's getting bullied, right? By who is the
Oh,
bully?
someone knows Alaska 96. Someone said in their comments.
Someone caught it. Okay.
Yeah. I love that. It's such a small movie, but it was cool.
Rob Gibbs wants to know if you've ever seen a Yeti.
What the heck is a Yeti?
Like an abominable snowman.
In Canada? Oh, that thing. Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe in the mountains of Jasper somewhere.
All right. Are Canadians worried about if the SHTF hits the fan in the United States that they're going to have a migrant problem?
We have plenty of room here. We don't have a lot of people. Like Canada is so damn big. This country is so big. So if you guys can handle our weather, good luck.
All right. So you all heard that Daniella gave us an open invitation to seek asylum in Canada. So there's a joke in the United States that, like, the United States builds border walls and Canada builds a privacy hedge. Because you all are a lot nicer than we are.
Well, yeah. Well, Canadians are starting to find their fire these days. But
what?
The Canadians are starting to bite back, but we're pretty nice. Pretty nice group of people.
Yeah, I'm following some of the stuff that's going on with the politics up there.
Oh yeah, we're getting pissed. And I'm from Alberta, so there's a bumper sticker on everybody's car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny, but yeah.
All around the world, same song. All right. Any other questions there? Let me go through my list of while we're letting people come up with stuff. I'm going to give you my rapid fire questions. You ready?
Nice. Yeah.
All right. I got to find them. Sorry.
No worries. I'm just looking at the chat here. Oh, someone's in Northern Timmins, Canada. That's Ontario.
Someone's near you?
Someone said I'm in Northern Timmins, Canada. Timmins. Like, is that Ontario? I'm thinking it's Ontario.
No, Rob. Rob wanted to know if you've seen a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot.
No.
But
the Yeti,
yeah. You have seen a Yeti, though. All right. Do you have a favorite book for preparedness?
Ooh, a favorite book for preparedness. Oh, that book is leaving me. It's one of those like Eastern books about the art of war, maybe something like that. Just understand.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's
Sun Tzu.
Yes. Yeah. That.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yeah, I like Hawaiian, but it's not my go-to pizza. Pepperoni and cheese. I'm basic like that.
All right. Arby's or Taco Bell?
Ugh, neither.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you have a favorite brand of knife?
No. I need to get into the knife thing.
I'll give you some recommendations.
Please do.
I will. I'll get with you. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Ugh, Star Wars.
Good choice. When you go backpacking, I know you haven't been able to do it recently, but when you go backpacking, do you have a favorite like backpacking meal?
Ooh, it would have to be nuts, cashews.
Okay.
Because they're filling, fatty, and high in calories.
Good snack. Yep. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
All right. And you already answered the last one, which was favorite survival movie.
Yes, Alaska.
And Celine is also a Star Wars fan. She and I have talked about that, though. She doesn't like any of the new stuff. She only likes the original trilogy, I think.
Yeah, I actually like episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'm a weirdo because I know everyone likes 3, 4, and 5 or whatever. I like 4, 5, and 6, the original ones from the 70s. I liked the ones with what's that guy's name?
Hayden Christensen, yeah.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen and that Scottish actor. Why am I forgetting his name? Because I just saw him in
Ewan McGregor.
Yes, I love him. Oh, what a guy! Yeah.
Celine says there's only 3 Star Wars movies. I'm one of those weird people that likes all of them. Even the Last Jedi. I even like the Last Jedi. Yes.
I hated the last ones. They were so bad. Like the Kylo Ren. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Celine says there's only 3. That's so funny.
Well, all right. So as we wind this one down, what have you got coming up? What's coming new on your channel? Can you give us a little sneak preview?
So what's coming new on my channel? I will be doing a brand video on a supplement. I haven't had a supplement in years. I don't touch supplement, but I tried a fat burner recently and it was effective. And I know this because my calories are so low that I know anything that interferes or that's new will produce a result. And I dropped a ton of weight. I also will be talking more about the snake diet, working with Cole Robinson on what I'm doing to lose weight and all of that, and throwing in some hauls in there and weigh-in videos, opinion videos, my frustrations with weight loss YouTube, and how right now the majority of weight loss YouTubers are people who are not losing weight, like the biggest ones, and it's driving me insane. So I'll be putting in my 2 piece with that. I'm probably going to get in trouble, but I don't care. Opinion piece.
Yeah, so I get it. Like we have some of that stuff going on in the prepper niche too, where there's certain channels that drive other people crazy. I mostly try to stay out of that stuff. Occasionally, if somebody says something like really unethical, I will speak out against that. Like there's been a couple things. One of the channels had recommended that people use that just charge up their credit card and not pay it off because the whole system was supposedly about to collapse. That was about a year ago. The system hasn't collapsed yet. Anybody who followed that advice, like you are in a whole heap of problems now because of that. So stuff like that, yeah, I will speak out about that. But for the most part, most of the other drama, I just kind of like stay out of it.
Yeah, I feel
People can do their thing. I'll do my thing, and whatever, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like the prepping community has a lot of drama.
Sometimes, yeah. It can be cliquey, it can be nichey, where people will kind of gather into their tribes, so to speak. I try to mostly get along with everybody, but
yeah. I hear you.
Well, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show, and thank you to the mods. I appreciate you all. I know several people were helping out there, including Bacon and Cold War Prepper, dropping those links. Really appreciate you all. Always a good time, and thank you everybody for all the great questions. Who would you rather be, the Rolling Stones or Beatles? Somebody mentioned CCR, which they want me to. I guess maybe I'll add that into the lightning round next time. And thank you, Forager Chick. I saw you pop in too. Appreciate you. And Rob Gibbs, thank you too. Great questions tonight. So I always end with a little bit of a positive message. Last week I was talking about forgiveness. This message is for those of you who have asked people for forgiveness, right? So if you have done what you needed to do and you've taken accountability and you've apologized if you owe somebody an apology, and just recognize that like that's all you can do. Okay. And if they don't want you to be a part of their life anymore, then you need to maybe respect that boundary. Okay. Because sometimes friendships fall apart, sometimes relationships fall apart, and it's okay to look back on those things with a little bit of grace and say, I'm glad this person was a part of my life for a little while, but now they're asking me to have this boundary. And if I still care about them, then I will respect that, right? Maybe down the road they come back into your life, maybe they don't, but you can't force somebody to accept that apology. You can't. And just because you apologize doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to get that forgiveness. So find your grace in that, and hopefully that reaches out and hits the people that need to hear that today. Okay. And above all else, love yourself, right? Like, we all do stupid things in this world. I've only known in my entire life one or two people, maybe three, that I can say that, like, these people were pretty much flawless. I never saw them be mean. I never saw them say a bad word. Never saw them overdrink. I never saw them do anything hurtful to anybody else. Never saw them even crack a joke at anyone's else's expense. Maybe three people in my whole life were like that. So we've all done some bad stuff. Forgive yourself, grow from it, move on, right? That will make you a better person. And then you don't have to keep beating yourself up. Okay. Hopefully that reaches the right people. Thank you so much, Danielle. I really appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on. I am a big fan of the entire prepping thing, and I'm honored to be here. So thank you.
My pleasure. You're welcome back anytime you want. Anytime you want. And thank you, everybody in chat. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. This is Daniella Joy and Prepping with Sarge.